Welcome to Chasing Hard podcast, where we talk about trusting God when life doesn't turn out the way you planned. Today, it's just me once again. And I wanted to talk about something that I recently learned that I've known for a while, but I was reminded of it once again. If you've been alive for any amount of time, then you have encountered at least one situation in your life that didn't turn out the way you planned. And you had to come to terms with that in your own for your own personal well-being, but also for your relationship with God, because it affects your relationship with God if you're believing and trusting in God for certain things to happen, for certain things to take place. Ultimately, God has a perfect plan for our lives, whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not, whether we even believe in God. Psalm 139 talks about how God formed us and knew us before we took our first breath. He formed us in our mother's wombs, knew the entire span of our lives before we took our first breath. It doesn't depend on whether you believe in God or not. It just is the way it is because He is the creator. Spent some time away from home the last couple of weeks with some family members, and there's just something about emotions and response to emotions and responding to different situations. And sometimes the response it doesn't match the situation that you're going through. And you got to figure that out, or you don't. I recently saw a sign on a refrigerator door, a magnet that said, "Are we eating our feelings or drinking our feelings?" And then I added, "or both." We're all not self-aware. We're all not aware of our feelings. We all don't acknowledge the feelings that we have. We don't think they're important. We don't want to feel them because they're confusing and they're painful and we don't understand. And I get that there are things that happen to us that affect us in ways we cannot know. It's part of life. Unless we set out on a journey to know and to become aware and to become self aware. And I became aware decades ago that I have a core belief about myself, that I'm not important and I don't matter. I don't know where that stemmed from, and it doesn't even really matter how or when. And it's probably a part of God's makeup because we live in a fallen world. And in the New Testament, Paul talks about a thorn in his side, and it's never revealed what that thorn is exactly. Some say it had to do with his eyesight. I don't know. Sometimes I think it has to do with our emotional wellness and the propensity of addictive personalities. But I don't know. Again, I don't know. But I do know this. We all have self doubt. No matter how confident we look up or appear, no matter how poised someone looks and handles their life, we all feel lacking in various areas of our lives and to various degrees. We're not created the same. We don't have the same life experiences, and therefore we approach life in different ways. And so becoming aware of the things that you think and feel, the core things that you carry with you throughout your life is important. Sometimes it takes me longer to hone in on what's going on. And that was the case last weekend when the schedule of travel got disrupted. I like to travel, like to drive. I love to drive. Like cross country road trips light me up. I'm not gonna lie, I will get tired of driving after 15 hours or so, but for the most part, I'm ready to go. I'm in for the long drive, for the long haul. But I usually have a schedule, and that's part of what I like to do. I'm not a maps person, and I don't like mapping things out, but I do like scheduling things because I feel like I do that well. It's one of my part of my skill set is to look at things and schedule things that work efficiently and get things done in a timely manner. And there was a wrench thrown into the plans last weekend. And seriously, it was no big deal. And seriously, it only impacted the schedule maybe 30 minutes, which is in the scheme of a 10, 12-hour day of travel is not a huge deal. But it was a huge deal. And I was mad. And I was mad at the people traveling with me. But I later came to realize that I was really mad at myself. And it really had more to do with those core feelings that I don't matter, I'm not important, than it had to do with the actual schedule. And I'm not going to lie, I don't like that. I don't like that I'm faced with those character traits, character defects, character, whatever you want to call them. I don't like it when I come face to face with those things. And so it takes me a while to process what's going on and to make peace with the people involved. And I don't like that either. I want to be able to do that instantly. And I used to do that instantly, but I don't feel like it was genuine. It was just to get past it and to get back on track, which wasn't a good track and which wasn't a good plan, but it was how I survived. So when you're driving, there is really a lot of downtime to process and think. And so I was grateful for that. We did have a destination a destination in mind, but also a sightseeing scheduled during this long trek to the next destination. And it was Joshua Tree National Park, which I'd never seen, and I quite enjoyed it. But even still processing the negative thing that happened, and not really negative, it was a chance for growth, an opportunity for growth, which again, I think I've grown enough, but apparently not. And so I spent the time reflecting, and it's 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 the same every time. It's like the same process. I usually am overwhelmed by the feelings and I don't like it and I'm out. I'm just done. I'm not ever going to do this again. I'm not going to have this person in my life or this and this is what they want. Well, this is what they'll get, by golly. And then I'm driving more and more time passes by and I continue to process. And what I realize is those feelings that I'm not important and that I don't matter were awakened because of the scheduling conflict, which was really no big deal, but became a huge deal. Ah, I mean, I am grateful to be able to come to that realization and to be able to know that I have to trust God in the little things and the big things and the big emotions. God gave us our emotions. He created us with our emotions. He created us with our character traits, with our bents, with our propensities. We're not mistakes. God created us the way we are. We have a responsibility to steward those things in the right way, to steward those things well, but we're not an accident. And the things that make up who we are isn't a mistake. So to embrace those things, to admit, to acknowledge, you know what? It doesn't even matter if anybody in the world thinks I'm important or that I matter, because God does. And ultimately, that's all that really matters. Ultimately, in the end, and we all have an end, it's me and God. Like, I will stand before my Creator, my Lord, my Heavenly Father, and give account of the gifts that how I stewarded the gifts that He gave me, how I conducted my life, the decisions that I made, and hopefully have acknowledged and repented for when they weren't right decisions, and made amends when I needed to. And that I got the opportunity, but it was 2 days later, but I did get the opportunity to acknowledge and apologize to the person that I feel like I hurt the most in the group of travelers. And he was very gracious and listening to me and quick to forgive because he loves me. He may not have liked the way I handled things, and he may have had his own emotions poked and beliefs poked because of that, because of me, because of me. But he was so gracious to forgive me and to listen. And I am grateful for that, and therefore grateful for that opportunity. Though I would have liked a do-over to have handled it differently, I feel like things happened the way they were supposed to happen, and that I was able to connect with this person in my life that I love with all my heart in a way that I probably wouldn't have on that trip without that incident. And I know, here's the thing, I know that I am not alone in telling you all of this long story. I'm not telling you this because, hey, look at me. I'm telling you this because we are the same. Like, we have different circumstances, different situations, different responses to life situations, to feelings, different core beliefs. But we are the same because we have those things. We have that in common, that we have experiences, responses, character traits, core beliefs. And you're not a mistake. God created you exactly how you are. And all the things that you've gone through and all the things that you are experiencing, even now that you don't understand and that you dislike with such a passion, and that makes you question not only what God is doing, but are you really there? Do you really see? Yeah, He is. He does. And He cares. But I want to encourage you in today, because of my experience last weekend, is to just trust God in those times and those things that don't turn out the way you planned. When you don't handle situations the way you plan to handle situations, when you don't stay in your lane, or when you don't stay within the boundaries that you have placed, or you don't stay detached, or you don't get involved, or whatever it is that has caused things to go off the rails or even a bit askew. Trust God in the hard times, with all the hard things, with the big things, with the emotions, and especially with the things you don't understand. Because God loves you with a fierce, huge, incomprehensible love. And even when we feel unworthy of that love, or when we don't understand, or when we're really ticked off because of life circumstances, He's not fazed. It doesn't change because He doesn't change. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So whatever it is that you're experiencing, have experienced, will experience, trust God. I'm not saying that flippantly, or that it's an easy thing to do. It's not. But allow yourself the grace and the time that you need to process, to get through the place, to get through the things, to get to the place where you can trust God once again. And that's all I have today. I hope it resonated with you. It landed with you in some way to help you to feel less alone and less different. You're not weird. You're not jacked up. Oh, maybe you are. I don't know you. But we all are, right? Just trust God when you don't understand. Trust God in the big, uncomfortable situations and emotions. Because you are the unique person that He created, and you are not a mistake. Thanks for listening. Thanks for allowing me to share my journey. Thanks for your feedback. Thank you for your follows. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for showing up every week. I will be back next week, hopefully with a guest. But if not, we'll do this again. And I hope you are too.